So the testnet, everyone, the testnet. Firstly, I kind of want some opinions because I've just, like I say, I've got Chris B and I've got David and I've got Triggs. So I've got Chris B and Triggs are both already Sentinels in the Sentinels program, and they support us massively already. We've also got David, who I'm kind of looking at. I've seen his application in the Sentinels, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, definitely. So David, we're definitely going to have some more chats later. In any case, I just want your opinions, guys. What are you most excited about for the testnet from what you've seen so far? Chris, maybe you can go first, mate.
Yeah, sure. For me, it's first of all, just like it's new to me to do something like that. And of course, that's one of my main motivations to learn also, not only be part of a project, but also learn something new. I've never run a node before, and I'm really looking forward to do that because I'm not really technical. I'm kind of technical, but I'm not too much into coding or something like that. And I think it just gives you another sense of how this whole thing, or like all this blockchain thing, is working. You know, I would say we all know how it works, like theoretically, but when you do it on your own, when you run your own node,
It
and you
gives you
have
a
to
way bigger
install
appreciation,
this
right?
stuff.
Like just
Yeah,
a much
right,
bigger
exactly.
appreciation for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's the same way with me. I mean, I haven't actually run a validator node for anything except I think Cardano way back in the day. But in any case, like it's one of those processes that you don't really appreciate how technical it is until you've done it. But also you don't appreciate how relatively easy it is to just follow along the guides and kind of make your way into it.
Yeah,
like vaguely.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of overwhelming at first. You know, you see like this GitHub file and everything, and you think, oh my God, okay, I have to jump in that. And now here we have a great community that, like, some people already started to do tutorials and how to set up. We have already video material. We have like Notion files. So it's really, it's a great community thing also going on right now.
100%, man.
I was gonna add to that. It's almost like it's really, because I was in the same boat too. It's kind of cool. It's like, I don't want to say being a kid again, building Legos, right? Like you buy a Lego set, right, and it's got this cool looking finalized product, and if you didn't have those instructions, you'd be like, how the hell do I even get to that, right? And it's kind of the same thing with running a node or validator or whatever in the space. It's like it can be overwhelming at first, but then when you do it, you have this sense of like accomplishment, and yeah, you definitely have more sense of like, man, that was pretty cool, but also appreciation for how blockchain works. And because realistically, like, people running the nodes and the validators, they are the blockchain, so it's pretty cool.
That's true, man. 100% true. My only issue with the Lego analogy is that whenever I buy a Lego kit, it always turns like from a car when it's supposed to be a car on the box, and it turns into a dinosaur or something. So I need to figure this out.
That's hilarious.
It shouldn't be that way in this case.
No, follow the rules, kids. Follow the rules. Okay, just follow the instructions we give you. Do not turn this into a dinosaur. Yeah, don't quote me on that. In any case, so what we're going to go through, David, sorry, man, David, because I've got you up here as well. I want to know your opinion, man, because you are already quite deep into validators, right?
In fact, it's the first one that I set up, so it's quite new for me. But
there you go.
besides Chris, I'm a developer. At the beginning of my career, I was a developer, so pull requests, things like that, GitHub. I know a little bit, but you know, it's so much exciting to start this. And I was in a couple of projects in Discord and around blockchain and things like that. And here, the community is really, really cool and really, really present, and especially the French community. But I think the world community is really great. And it's so cool, you know, to see that there is a couple of changes on the GitHub repository by the team, and you know, every people is here like, oh, something is changing. Do I have to change things? Do I have to test? And it's really, yeah, really exciting. And yeah, like a junior, I think it's, you know, you try something, try to make things working, and then see what is happening, because it's really like discovering things. And well, I really like it. And I set up this tutorial because I was quite sure that it's a little bit hard to set up everything. But I think if you can just follow on one page the different steps to set up something, that it's good.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Kind of like a skill tree. You just follow each step all the way down until you actually get to where you want to be. No, it's absolutely amazing, man. And I love, like you said, guys, the community response from all of this has been absolutely incredible. Just shout out to everyone in the listeners right now. We've got a bunch of people in the listeners, and you guys have just absolutely made all of this worthwhile. Even at this ridiculously early stage that we're at, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. So thank you for just following us and believing in us. We haven't even started raising money yet, so thank you very much for coming and for understanding the kind of mission that we're on here. Triggs, you are part of a validator group, are you not? So what are you kind of excited for the process so far?
Yeah, so we're working for a validator for a couple of years now. We've gotten involved in a lot of test nets and active sets and stuff, but it's fun to be this early, I guess, to the process with a chain that I'm this excited about. I mean, I came across Galactica on a personal. It appealed to me on a personal level, and getting Cleomedes involved with validating the chain is really exciting from just like a career business perspective. We want to be a part of these early chains before they really take off. But for me, it's really exciting on a personal level to be able to engage so closely with the process and watch how the chain kind of develops, how the community forms. Being a part of the Sentinel program has been great, being a part of that process, but it's amazing to see the amount of engagement and just the organic kind of grassroots stuff like you guys were talking about with all the tutorials and walkthroughs, everybody helping each other out. It's just fun to be in these early stages. A lot of times you don't hear about chains until mainnet's already launched and it's already starting to take off and they're raising tons of money, and so everybody's paying attention. And that changes the dynamic of it, which that's all great too. But being in here in this stage is, I don't know, it's just like it's a unique experience. And I think it's one of the unique values of blockchain that it's open for the public to be able to engage at this stage of the process. Normally, this kind of stuff would all be happening behind closed doors in locked rooms, real hush-hush and secretive. But instead, we get to just share it with the public and let people get involved. So that's pretty cool.
For sure, man. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's probably born from the way we were founded as a project. So our founders, Mike and Mark, they got together. They've been in crypto for even longer than I have, and they are very much of the old crypto ethos. They are of the cypherpunk kind of era. The 2009 to 2013 kind of cypherpunk stage, in which freedom and sovereignty were the basis for everything that we did. It wasn't all about adoption or any of this stuff. It was about maintaining people's rights and freedoms, and ensuring that ethos was kind of at least carried on at the tech level all the way through. So that's where we were kind of born from. That's our entire ideal, is to make sure that this is about people. It's not about it's not so much about money. Money comes. Money is one of those kind of like a byproduct of building a product like this. And on the amazing financial underpinnings and infrastructure that we've built as an industry over the last 15 years, that's finance comes. But what we wanted to build with Galactica was the social side, was the part that supported people, allowed people to have governance systems that actually work for people rather than just for token whales. have the ability to on and off ramp real world assets and data. So you can actually leverage, the stuff you already have, your Twitter profiles, your Discords, your Reddits, all of this stuff, all this massive reputation that you've built up in Web 2 already, allow people to actually use that on chain and gain benefits from it and own that data. Sorry, I'm probably going to start. I could go on forever about this. In any case, sorry, man. Chris, you've got your hand up, man. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to say, like what Drake said, it's not just to be part of a project in an early stage, it's also because it touches all of us, I think, on a personal level. Because those topics we are talking about here, this DSOC and privacy and everything, I think we all here in community care about those things as well. And so this is, I think I can talk for everyone here, but this is also that part which is as exciting, as important as to be so early in this project with this testnet and DevNet before. And yeah, I just want to support that we are here also on a personal level. Yeah.
Hell yes. That's exactly what we are right now. It's Galactica is kind of pretty much at a grassroots level. That's what it is. We are going to get some insane funding, I guarantee you that. But right now, it's very much grassroots. It's all about you guys here. You guys here are in this space. You couldn't be earlier. I know we've been building this protocol for the last 2 years or more. But we've been building it slowly, making sure that every single stage actually works. And we've gone through the DevNet for a long time, for like 6 months or more. And we've been doing that because zero knowledge KYC is a big deal. It's massive, and we want to get it right. So we want to go through that with you guys, with the Sentinels to start with, and then with the community at large, making sure that we get every single piece of feedback we can and make sure that this is like genuine and organic feedback that we can actually act upon. And that's exactly what we've done. We've gone from the ZK KYC on the DevNet. It's being transferred over to the testnet in a completely in a much stronger an infrastructure level than it was in the DevNet. Like the testnet version is much more polished. It's much faster. It's got so many tech improvements underneath the hood you wouldn't believe. And we're going to be wrapping that all up in a very special new user experience very soon, which I cannot wait to show you guys. That's going to be a cool thing. So I just want to go through a couple of things that we like, what's actually happening on the testnet. Okay, just so you guys have got some information. Follow and give us a like and a retweet on the space, by the way, just so I don't forget to get that out. So on the testnet, what we're going to be doing is having testnet v1, which will be for like the first month or two or however long it is, which will include zero knowledge KYC, the stuff that you've already seen, just the improved version that we've got from the DevNet after all your feedback. And then we're going to have the validation side of things. So you'll be able to run your nodes. So that's testnet v1. Now, how long testnet v1 goes on for, we can't give you a date just yet. But we're not sure that it's going to be too long. It's just the fact that we've got to make sure that we have a solid base of validators and that everything is running on the node side of stuff, and that we make sure that we have all the UX in place in order to support validation properly. And we need your feedback for that. So basically, once we've got enough feedback and we've got that polished enough, then we can move on to testnet v1.1. So in testnet v1.1, which again will be like as soon as we can get it out, pretty much, that will be the start of the governance and reputation features. Now, obviously, those are absolutely massive. Alongside the zero knowledge KYC, the governance and the reputation features are the biggest parts of the protocol. They're absolutely enormous, and we are going to need your help to make this stuff work the way it's supposed to work. So this is why we've been focusing so hard on making sure that we get you guys involved in the DevNet and testnet phases. That's why we've been trying to incentivize that with testnet with quests, from the Zeely and the Galaxy campaigns. Just make sure that you guys are getting something back in return for the amazing work that you guys are putting in. So thank you for that. So basically, if you kind of want to know who the testnet is for, it's for everyone. So I want you guys to make sure that you are giving as much feedback at every level that you can kind of contribute at. So obviously it's for validators and it's for developers. Those two sets of people are going to be able to give us the kind of technical feedback that will result in a product that works as well as it can. But I would really like to make sure that every single citizen has the highest base of knowledge that they can achieve in like the technical underpinnings of Galactica. Because you guys, like I say, you are our early community. You guys, besides the Sentinels, you will be the most knowledgeable people within our community, and you'll be able to help people. You'll be able to help people understand, and you'll be able to provide value to others, which is an amazing feeling to do. And it's also something that we can recognize as a team and perhaps incentivize. So this is like education for us is possibly like the most important part of what we're doing right now. So I've spoken a bit too much, probably. I apologize. So I would just love to know your guys' opinions on the on what's coming up in Testnet v 1.0 or 1.1, and whether you have any questions on that. So if anyone wants to take the floor, if you want to raise your hand, I don't mind which way you want to do it. But I'd love to hear some feedback on that. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to assume that everything is perfect and that I can be a happy man. So I've just kind of given you information. That's fair enough. What I would really like to get across basically is that if you take part in the testnet, you will be able to earn rewards. You'll be able to get SBTs like tokens of appreciation, that kind of thing, that will carry over to the mainnet. So make sure that you are taking part in everything that you are capable of taking part in, and that would be massively appreciated by the team. As a developer, guys, as well, if there are any developers who happen to want to be producing like apps on the chain, you'll be happy to know that you'll be able to produce stuff that you just can't do on other chains for the most part, because you have this identity and reputation layer that allow you to do like more social interactions with your dApps. You're allowed to allows you to keep things more fair and give you more options for building. So if you have interest in building something that's truly unique, then get in touch with the team, and we'd be happy to help you out with any kind of use case that you can consider with identity, reputation, and privacy. Triggs, you've got your hand up, mate.
Yeah, so I guess the question that I had was, I guess I just raised my hand again. Sorry, I didn't know how that works. I'm not usually on mobile, so I can't raise my hand.
You raised both your hands, that's fine.
Yay, both hands up. Okay. For people that are engaging in testnet, whether it's developers or just individual contributors and stuff, like you mentioned that reputation will transfer to mainnet. Is there any mechanism for people to kind of like track what reputation they've earned already, or is the testnet at this stage more of just do everything that you can, knowing that it's getting recorded and eventually there will be, you know, some record for it or whatever that you can follow along with?
Okay, so that's mostly drawing from column B, but some from column A too. Everything that you are doing, like the testnet, the devnet and testnet phases are accumulation phases, essentially. So you do everything you possibly can, and as Triggs correctly assumes, it's all being tracked for you. We will make sure that like every major contribution is tracked. If it can't be done automatically, then it's, you know, done manually as well. So the second part of that is that we are actually producing a brand new UX, which I have alluded to very, very quickly earlier. That new UX experience will include tracking features and gamification, and making sure that you guys know exactly where you are within these campaigns, as well as where you are with your SBTs, what your exactly which information that you are proving on chain, the governance features, your validators, all of this stuff will be within one absolutely incredible new UX. So you'll see that very soon. And I genuinely can't wait to reveal that. So I haven't told anyone that to anyone else yet. So everyone listening to this space, you're the first people to know. So that's that, Tricks. Chris, you got your hand up, mate.
Yeah, so for the people who don't run a validator node, will it be similar to like the Cipher State campaign, something like that they can be involved in this whole thing?
Absolutely, yes, of course. So if you're not doing validation and you're not like building dApps, then you will be able to make transactions. You'll be able to go through the ZK KYC process as you have been able to on the DevNet. There will be a variety of more incentivized stuff that we'll also do on the testnet, I believe, compared to the DevNet. Just individual specific tasks that we're going to ask, that we're going to want a lot of people to try in order to stress test. So there'll be definite incentivizations for like just normal people who just want to try these things and, you know, get rewarded in reputation for that. Okay, guys. So I think one of the other things that I got asked on the... Oh, go on, David, please.
Yeah, just a question. How can you explain how we will receive the delegation token that we have to put in the validator?
Yeah, sure. So there are a couple of ways you can do that. You can either go the slow way, which is the go through the faucet. I believe that only actually rewards like 10 UGNet per day or something like that. Yeah. So if you want to run a validator, you essentially have to go through the Genesis validator kind of process. That will actually be explained in an article that we're going to be releasing tomorrow, alongside with the testnet, and that will kind of give you all the information you need. But also there is once you've given your address and you've gone through the registration process, we'll be able to drop all the Genesis validators enough GNET in order to UGNet, sorry, in order to do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, obviously we don't want people having to like just being 10 UGNet short or something stupid. Okay, perfect. If there's anyone who would actually like to jump up, by the way, this is an open stage. You are more than welcome, and we do not bite. So if you would like to come up and ask any questions in voice, then I would love to hear it. Or you can ask your questions in the comments. I will have a quick look through the comments, see if we can find anything in there that's of interest. But until then, I do have a bunch of questions already from the Discord. So we're not short for questions, that's for sure. Right, let's just have a little look here. In that case, I would actually like to kind of get a little opinion from Hoss, actually. Have you taken part in any of the the DevNet stuff for Galactica yet, Hoss?
No, I haven't actually. Should I?
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, no, you don't need to jump on the DevNet. I'd love you to jump on the testnet because that's, you know, tomorrow. So
yeah, I definitely can. I like messing around on testnets anyway, so it's kind of fun. You know,
no, it's cool. It's only because you mentioned that you ran a validator for a couple of for Injective and for what was the other one?
I'm doing one on a ride chain and one on Injective. Those are like two of my favorite chains. So it's like, why not, right? I invest in it. I like both of them. Figure why not? And I do plan on doing a few more. I don't want to get too bombarded. You know, some chains have asked, like, "Hey, would you run a validator on our chain?" And maybe I will. I do like doing it though. I'm not gonna lie, I do have help though, because I travel a lot, and one of the things I just never want to mess up and piss anyone off. You know, I'd rather have someone like 01 Nodes helps me with my validator, and they've been validating forever, man. Like they were one of the first like 5 validators or 10 validators on Solana, like the hub, you know. So like they've been doing this a very long time. They have a professional operation going on. So I'm like, yeah, sure. No, I just liked them anyways before that. So, you know, I do that, but I also know how to get in and like check stuff out and do stuff too. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's something that I would love to get an answer from, actually, from either you, Hoss, or maybe you, Triggs. What's your like opinion on like the do-it-yourself version of validators, or like abstracting it out to like a VPS or something? Like, is that your preference, Hoss, doing it through the VPS?
Bare metal would be the way to go. I mean, if you want to have the best, if you want to have the best, but like, yeah, I mean, most people just do, a lot of people just do the cloud or whatever, So
I got you. And Triggs, what about you, man?
I'm a big fan of bare metal. I think that validators on cloud servers are not for the benefit of the blockchain. They're for the benefit of the individual running the validator. So, and I say that to mean like the purpose of distributing validators across the globe is to create resiliency and redundancy on the network so that any particular event that happens in any one like localized region doesn't take down the whole network. So if everybody's just running their validators on the same like 3 different cloud providers and something happens with one of those cloud providers, whether it's power going out or some disconnect or some centralized agency enforcing some regulation on that cloud provider, just it potentially could damage the security of the entire network. If there's like 3 bare metal servers that are running that have a very small, percentage of the overall stake, and then the like 95% of the rest of the validators are all running on the same cloud servers, and then suddenly those cloud servers get cut off. Now all of a sudden those 3 people running the bare metal servers own the entire network, and all the security is gone. Right. So like in order to ensure robust redundancy and security for these networks as adoption starts to expand and usage actually starts to increase, I think we have to have people who are willing to run bare metal servers and be distributed all over the world, right? So like that's what Cleomedes does. We are trying to provide institutional grade validation, but we also prioritize bare metal servers. So we run all of our validators on our own bare metal servers that are located in a geographical region that doesn't have any sort of cloud providers or very many, other like bare metal type individual validators. So I think that is a very important. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with people running on cloud servers. Like by all means, get your foot in the door.
No, I get your point.
Learn,
though. I really do.
Learn how to use it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think we were talking about like decentralization not being like the end all be all earlier, but on the other side of that, like decentralization is like, it represents our freedom. Essentially, it really does. If you want to be like censorship resistant, if you want to be unstoppable, then decentralization is one of those things that needs to be at least sufficient, right? Sorry, we've actually got a new guest up on stage. PFC, pretty sorry. You know what? I can't see your entire name. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Excited to be here and excited to hopefully be part of the testnet. Just on the decentralization, the dirty little secret is most people run on Hetzner, and it's a massive risk. But they're really like half the price. So you're going to get that. And being on a VPS versus the bare metal versus hosting, you need a mix, and you also need some people just running from home. So there's a lot of other people who actually just run their nodes at home. And if it's not a super heavy validation requirement, so it's like 6-second block times or whatever, you can actually run a machine at home. Or if you want to be a little bit more resilient, just run 3 machines in your at your friends' places, ideally on different ISPs, and you'll basically get a different type of decentralization. But there's a whole lot of stuff. Everyone talks about it, but in reality, what normally happens is 30% or more will be running on Hetzner because they're just really cheap, and there's not much you're going to can do with that unless you deliberately start your delegation program or provide incentives for them not to.
Completely fair points. Well said. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you really need to consider what's enough, I guess. As long as, like, you know, a government or a centralized entity like a corporation can't just come along and turn us off, that's it. That's sufficient, right?
Yeah, I agree. And like, I'll just, put my hand up once more. It's, PFC runs nodes in, what is it, 3 different hosting providers in 4 different countries in 4 or 5 different data centers. I'm a bit extreme on that point of view, but once you get to a certain size, and this is where some of the larger validators can help, they can decentralize through themselves. So if you want to shut them down, you'll need more than one court order or more than one company to close. So there are those kind of availability type things as well, where you as a validator can actually decentralize yourself a bit as well, in case you're nervous that somebody's going to knock on the door. But again, it's not going to stop a monkey wrench, if they know where I live, and just hit me over the head that way either. So.
Well, very little is going to stop a $3 wrench attack. That's something that we've always come to have to accept, I guess. Triggs, what's up, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of what PFC was saying. Great insights and input on there. And just to throw in another, because the variety of decentralization, I agree, is really important. There's lots of different ways that you can define the decentralization. And another great option is utilizing decentralized cloud services like Akash, which is a local Cosmos chain. There's more of these products starting to pop up. And, it's kind of like nested layers of decentralization when you start getting into that kind of stuff, because Akash will distribute what you're being hosted on across all kinds of different stuff. And I really like PFC's comment about organizations able to kind of decentralize within themselves or whatever. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that, especially in Cosmos chains where active sets are a lot more limited. It's not like Ethereum where you can have thousands of validators. There's only ever going to be a couple hundred validators on any Cosmos chain at any given time. And so as the competition starts to increase, I think that there's going to be more and more of these organizations that provide internally decentralized validation services, which is just a really interesting concept to me.
Yeah, I agree. Like before I was saying, decentralization in a sense might be overrated when it comes to organization structure, but when it comes to the infrastructure, it needs to be as decentralized as possible. And yeah, that's one of the issues with Cosmos is a lot of validators are running on so many different chains, and then if they're not decentralized themselves and they're just in one area or they're in one server, basically just a data center, then there's a little bit of centralization there. That basically you just don't want any. At the end of the day, you just don't want any attack vectors. The less attack vectors, the better off we all are. And yeah, so that's just adding to what you guys are basically both saying.
Yeah, and just to heap onto that, a testnet is great for new validators. So if you want to try and you want to experiment, go rent a node in Amazon or Google or Hetzner or whatever on a testnet, and see if you can break it. See what happens when you shut it off. See what happens if you want to move machines. Get your practice in on this test on a testnet before it hits a live one, because a number of times that I've seen people who don't know how to recover from a backup it happens maybe once every 3 months. Somebody basically, our machine died, lost it, sorry, I'm jailed or I'm tombstoned. So please use a testnet, not just to test their tools, but to test your operational resilience, so that if somebody if your server goes down, you can actually, how to basically bring it back up, because it doesn't just, those are the things that aren't normally sitting in the guides.
100%.
Yeah,
I was
just going to ask if there were any guides, because even if it's for any of the chains, right? Because for the most part, it's basically just a different syntax, but it's kind of the same. So if you had that for people, I know there's some chains are better than others with the GitHubs or whatever. Like I know Osmosis is usually pretty good. Like it's super easy to just deploy. It's like one line of code.
Yeah, it's the deployment is fairly basic to get it up and running. They're all the same. Some of the tools that you should be looking at are something called Horcrux. That's probably one of the better tools to just look at. But again, you'll need 2 or 3 machines to do that. So it starts getting a bit more pricey.
Yeah, that's what we're doing on. That's what we're doing on an Injective. We have 3.
Yeah. And then there's some other stuff if you want to get fancy in Kubernetes, which makes it really easy. You can just edit a text file and it just starts deploying things. But again, you need to know Kubernetes, and you need to have you need to have a Kubernetes node or go into the GKE to set that up. So it depends on your level of operational knowledge.
Not bad. I think as these, I think the experience for running a validator is getting easier over time, even if it's very slow at getting easier. And I am liking that because I need that. I really need something a bit more simplistic. So I would like to just get this is what I really like. We've got some incredibly knowledgeable and powerful people who are running validators for us as Genesis validators for Galactica. We've also got the smaller guys like Chris here and David, who are just working together, as well as Dan from our Sentinels program, who are just working together to bring up these incredible small validators for us. So we've got this really, really good mix, I guess, that we've been talking about here, having these many different types of decentralization, of having the blockchain based on something solid. Go on, Osman.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I actually going to, when I get back, I might start messing around, or hell, even on my trip, I might just throw my laptop on and just mess around. But what do you know what the goal is for the block times on Galactica?
I don't know. I don't know what from the tech perspective. I'll hold my hand up and say I'm ignorant. So maybe Triggs. I don't know if you've seen that in the docs anywhere.
I don't have it off the top of my head now. I was actually just thinking today, man, I need to dig into those docs and get a little deeper into this, since we're going live tomorrow.
In any case, that's something I'll have to drag up from the devs, and we will. I'll find that out for you.
Yeah, because what I'll do is I'll ask you, because I'm going to be doing a long road trip tomorrow, so I have time to just. Usually on road trips, I just read a lot, so I'll just nerd out, but. I wouldn't expect it to have to be too fast. I'm running an infrastructure on Injective. It's 0.8. It's so fast and it's just so intense. And then a ride chain is now, it used to be at five, a little over 5 seconds a block. Now with the new updates, it's basically 1 second. So for those listening, the faster the blocks, the more intense it needs to be. And just especially with your SSDs basically just burn out quicker and it's more intense. So I would assume Galactica is not going to have to be that intense. Maybe I'm wrong, but
from what I've been told, the intense part of the operations from the validator point of view is going to be the reputation aspects, the reputation calculations. So the first part, like I said, we're going in 2 stages, and that's going to be the testnet v1, which will be the validators themselves, getting basic transactions, and v1.1 will kind of be the stress test for reputation. So like I say, I think what I'll do, Cos, I'll invite you into the validators group, and then you can ask the devs directly and make sure that you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, nice. Because, and PFC made a good point too. In addition to that, you get to test around and mess around and try to break it. And I feel like that's usually the best way to learn anything, especially when it comes to tech. Is I must take the Solana approach. Why people piss and get mad at Solana for a long time? It was just it's called the race car philosophy. It's why do people build the best race cars? Well, the people that are building it, they give it to their driver and tell them beat the shit out of this, try to break it, be rough on this car. And if the driver can't break it, then they're ready to go. But if something breaks, then they know they need to fix it. And that's what's kind of cool about being early. Not only that though, if you are trying to run a validator, it does get a little bit competitive, especially when the chain's been out for a while, and then for you to get in, depending on what chain it is, it could be pretty pricey. So it's like if you get in early, usually you can kind of solidify yourself, obviously, with an early investment, not financial advice or whatever, however you get your delegations. Then you can sit a little comfy, because I can tell you right now, the anxiety that some validators have, and I know I would have it, being like towards the bottom of the active set, is just, I would never want to be like that, because it's too much anxiety for myself. And that's one of the reasons I didn't like get into heavy doing validation, because I'm like, I just don't want the anxiety if I'm not like mid to top part of this validator set, have to worry about always being active and trying to like sit here and tell people to delegate to me, you know what I mean? So I feel for those that are like on any set, they're at the bottom and they're just like, it's not profitable, or they're not breaking even, and then they got that anxiety. So yeah, if you're going to get into validating, get in early on whatever project you like, for sure.
Yeah.
Or find a sugar daddy.
Or that, sure.
Or yeah, you just find someone that's like, all right, I'll delegate $1 million to you guys, and then you're good. Then you're good.
Okay, I got you. So you got some tips there, everyone. Try to take what you can out of that. The good stuff, the stuff. Don't go for sugar daddies. I mean, in Web3, that's a dangerous game. Chris, David, I'd actually like to get your guys' opinions from like the more grassroots level of this stuff. What kind of makes you want to do this in the first place? Like, what makes you want to run a validator beyond just like, the challenge maybe, or what is it that you want to do right now?
It's really a good question. I think it's my geek side who you just show up and try to set up and really the technical part of it. And that I think that's the main part. And also, like you said, the fact to think about, should we run it in a VPS or at home, things like that. It's really important, and it's one of the main questions that we have also in the community today. What should we do? And we talk about the decentralization, and if everybody is in the same, like Contabo or Alphomaniac or something like that, it's not really decentralized. So no, it's it's really interesting about that. And I would say, for me, I think it's really the tech side of the things, and just learn how am I able to set up something like that. That's also one of the points, and to learn how to set up something like that. I'm quite new in crypto and blockchain and things like that, so discover every day. But I think it's that. And also, like I said before, the community is great. Spending a couple of hours with Dan, and it's really cool to speak with a guy like that. So community and technique stuff. I think it's the main reason.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way on the tech side for sure. I need to know if I'm capable of doing this, if I'm even remotely capable of running a validator. Chris, same thing. I don't know if you heard. I realized you were actually in the listener panel when I asked the question. Did you hear the question?
Yeah. For me, it's similar, but not quite the same. So I don't doubt that I could do that, or that I could run such a node. It's more like how it's built and how it works. That's what I'm interested in. And like now having those, or like these discussions now, and to realize, oh yeah, this decentralization, this means a little bit more than we thought first. And of course we need different servers on different continents and everything. Didn't think about that in first, like in my first, how can I say that? My first round of thinking, yes. And so that's what is the most interesting part to me, to learn like about the whole thing from like a completely new view, because I'm into crypto since more than 10 years, more than 10 years. And just like an investor, or like, okay, let's buy some Bitcoin because it's cool and I want to be part of that. I want to be an early adopter, but never really understood, like from the beginning how it really works, or what it needs. And of course, you read a lot about it, and now you can be part of it, and that's really exciting.
I love it. I love it. And I love that like so many people are learning from this process the why, like the why of decentralization. Why we actually need this stuff to be decentralized. The reason why we're moving away from the centralization of power, of money, of everything we can, just to protect ourselves and enable ourselves to like maintain a modicum of freedom in this world. This seems to be moving away from that style of thing. I don't want to call on too many names, but the kind of person who says you will own nothing and be happy. That's we kind of want to maintain a bit of sovereignty and autonomy in amongst this world we live in, where everyone seems to be trying to take that away, or where like new innovations like artificial intelligence, upcoming quantum computing, all this stuff that's like mass producing like what were previously human actions. So I think we need that a little bit of individuality, a little bit of flair, a little bit of human madness and chaos. And we need to maintain that. We need decentralization. We need freedom. Whether that made sense, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm very glad to be able to speak with people like you guys who accept me for who I am.
Hey,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. This had nothing to do with that. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have a question. Do you know how many nodes must be running on the network to guarantee the security of the network on the mainnet?
Right now, I think we've got a group of 30 Genesis validators around that number. I think that's not including you guys who are doing like the grassroots stuff. And we've got like I don't even know how many people who are trying to do that right now. So
okay, and is there a top limit for the number of validators?
Again, unfortunately, that's a question that I can't personally answer, but that's something that I will note down, and we'll get the answer to that straight away because that needs to be answered. So yeah, I'll get hold of the dev team on that one. So those are the two questions that I'll get hold of them on.
Yeah, good.
Okay, guys. So I think actually we are starting to run out of time. I didn't realize just how long we'd already gone on for. Apologies, guys. Thank you very much. So we just got one more request. We'll see who that is. Oh, it's PFC. I definitely want to say hello and get his final thoughts for sure. Very valuable kind of guy, I think. PFC, you back again? Yeah.
I try to get out and let other people have a spot when I can. But on the active set, typically you start a chain with a small active set and you expand, and then the governance will allow you to expand or contract. There are typically on larger chains you might have 100. I think that on Quicksilver you can get up to 300 different validators participating. But what you'll find is the more validators you have in there, the slower the block times become, because you need to coordinate. Instead of having 30 people to coordinate with, you have 300. So you get very long block times and stuff like that. Also, what happens is at the bottom end of the validation set, you might only be getting $1 or a couple of cents a month for validating. So it might not be economically viable. So some people might do it for the love, but what that means is you're going to have some really cheap setups at the bottom of the set because they just can't afford anything else. If that makes sense.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. It's completely possible for you to for it to be not economically viable. That's absolutely true, especially on mainnet. Just so you're aware, on testnet, we will be running a Voyager Arc campaign among many other like kind of campaigns for the testnet, which will hopefully give you a little something back for your efforts, for helping us test and stress test Galactica Network and all its ridiculous number of features. So we really are looking forward to seeing you guys on the testnet and helping us out with the validators. Especially, like I say, anyone at the grassroots level, or whether you're at the kind of level of PFC or Trigs, we're happy to see you all just take part and give us feedback, because each and every one of you provides value in a different way. So we're very thankful for it. Also, just one more other thing actually that I wanted to mention on the validation front is the governance, which you just brought up, PFC. So thank you for that. Validators will, if you didn't already know and haven't read our documentation, will have a massive role in coordinating governance. If you've seen our governance structure, it's modeled on a Swiss model, a kind of a hybrid Swiss model, in which you have a parliament, you have various interest groups, and you have like a high council that tables motions to be passed. And the interest groups will probably heavily revolve around validators. So it's something that you want to take into consideration. If you are doing this for the love, as PFC put it, then there will be a lot more to it than most blockchains, because as Galactica is a very social blockchain, in which there is identity and reputation along with privacy, you will have a much more sophisticated and fully formed governance system that isn't just based on how many tokens you hold. So you need to take that into account when you are running a validator. It's a big responsibility with a very high, a very good opportunity for personal growth and that kind of reward. So I just wanted to get that out there so you understood the relationship between validators and governance, because it's a very important one. For a more in-depth kind of description of that, you should definitely check out our documentation. There are some, I think there's even actually an entire paper on it that we've written in the research section of the website. Okay, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled with the amount of information that's been shared in this space today. I actually have, I think, maybe 20 more questions that I should be going through right now, but unfortunately, I'm not capable of going on for too much longer. So I would just like to go around the stage and get a couple of final thoughts before we finish up. Hoss, you came off mic. What's up, man?
Yeah, this was what I was trying to say before. When you were talking about we need crazy people, I'm not saying he's a crazy person, but it made me think of this recent interview that I just watched, I think like a couple of days ago. If you haven't, you guys all should watch it. It's very good. But whenever Don Lemon, for those that don't know who Don Lemon is, he's like this central entity for mainstream media, right? And he's just, in my opinion, he's a total clown. I think he works for like CNN, or maybe he doesn't anymore, but he did for a long time. And anyways, Elon Musk interviewed him, or he interviewed Elon Musk on this platform, and Elon Musk was just clowning him, saying about centralization and you can't have freedom if those can't that you totally disagree with can't have their point of view. And he just was like saying about, you really want censorship.
This is the one where he said like, you want censorship so badly you can taste it, right? I saw that, right?
Yeah, that's really good. And it's awesome for people like, cause the reason I was trying to tie that in is because in a sense, that's really what crypto is too, is, how centralized and censorship and out of touch so many people that are calling all the shots, right? Like not all politicians. I don't want to always shoebox all of them, but most of the politicians or people that are pulling the strings financially have just excluded 99% of us. And crypto starts to really chew away at that. But also platforms like this, like as much slack and shit that will give Elon and others about Twitter Spaces and all that. It's like it's really nice to see it. I'm a huge Elon fan, to be honest with you. Like, I used to not be, but I think he's one of the most brilliant people on planet Earth, and he does a lot for humanity. The fact that dude open sourced Tesla's tech stack is crazy to me. It's like, that's how awesome the guy is, that you know, he literally open sourced it. And he's like, well, you know, if someone takes this and makes a better version of Tesla or a better EV car, you know, it is what it is. Like, that's, I think this is better for humanity. And, you know, this platform really is. Like, I know when I first got on this platform, I didn't want to use it because, like, people were getting shadow banned all the time and everything else. But when he took it over, it's like you can actually start to say stuff. You can post stuff about politicians. Like, you couldn't say anything. You couldn't say anything about COVID before. Like, we need all of that. And in this space, again, we need decentralization too, because those that power, you know, they're not going to just easily relinquish their power. And we're seeing it now. Like, a lot of countries are kind of on board with crypto, and still, you know, America, every chance that they can get, they're just attacking any central figure, right? Whether that's a centralized exchange, maybe some of it's rightfully so, but anyone that's building privacy things in this space, it's like, you know, we just need to keep at it with the decentralization. And it takes us all, right? It takes the village. And at the end of the day, though, even if you're just like an American and you're like, oh, the politicians, well, people get what they want as long as you're united, right? And then people want crypto. Like, slowly but surely, more and more people want crypto. So just, you know, keep at it, educate people, man, reach out. You know, people are going to come into this space, because I firmly believe, you know, I could be completely wrong, but I would be surprised if Bitcoin's not well over 100K by Christmas time this year. And you know that's going to bring in so many people that are going to be clueless. So, you know, try to help those out so they don't get scammed, and maybe they have a bad experience because they don't know what they're doing, and everyone's like, oh, you know, making fun of them or whatever, because we're all kind of experienced and we all were young and new at this space at once. So just try to help, you know, educate people and lend a hand and help people, because that's what this takes. It takes us all, to be honest with you, as silly as it might sound. But yeah,
No, you're
so
completely
that's,
right. Completely right,
you know,
Hoss. Like, and it's this grassroots stuff that we've been talking about today that matters. It really is on the education front. Like, you know, we got Chris here, Chris B, who's been making a validator from scratch with zero knowledge, just because he can. He's got the will to try, and he's got a lot of people around him in the Galactica community who's willing to help him. And that's the kind of like communal spirit that we need in Web3 entirely. Like Hoss is saying, we need to have people who are just have good intentions as the base level of community. And from that, you can build almost anything. Once the education is free and available and people are willing to give that education away, provide their value, provide their time to new people and new participants, that's when Web3 wins. That's when Web3 wins.